All right, folks. So she's been playing the steel pan, I'm told, since age 5 and has toured the world and won numerous competitions. I'm talking about ethnomusicologist and assistant professor of music at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Mia Gormandy-Benjamin. Wow, big things, big timer, who zooms in now for our Caribbean check-in segment. Good morning, Doc. How are you?
Good morning, good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm good. How are you?
I can't complain. Give thanks, and thanks for asking. Boy, you know, sometimes they say you kind of just look at people and you kind of figure out that they do this and they do that. You kind of don't look like a steel pan person still, you know. I'm sure you're told that a couple of times, don't? Where did this start? I said age 5. And I read many moons ago that the steel pan was the only instrument that was invented in the 20th century. I think it started in 1930 or something like that in Trinidad and Tobago. But where did the love of the pan start with you?
Well, yes, the steel pan and the steel pan instrument, family of instruments, of course, was developed here and invented here in Trinidad and Tobago. And for me, you know, when I was 5 years old, my parents bought a steel pan for my older brother because he seemed really interested in music. And for some reason, he wasn't as interested in the steel pan. And my very short, tiny 5-year-old self was reaching over my head to try to play. And lessons for him turned into lessons for me. And I guess the rest is history. At 6 years old, I entered my first competition with other children who went all the way up to about the age of 18. And I won, and that was just an amazing time. And my parents said, you know what, I have a feeling that Mia needs to be in music and steel pan, and then the passion just developed from there.
But you're obviously an accomplished woman, an accomplished educator, so you stuck with the pan right through all of that, through your studies and everything. You still decided that you want to stay with the pan. And what do you play? Because I know the pan, you would have the bass drum and stuff. So you play which one or all of them?
Yes, well, I do play all of them. Well, I started on the tenor pan, which is the single steel pan, and over time, I sort of started learning the others. And then once I started pursuing my bachelor's degree in music at Northern Illinois University, of course, as part of that degree program, I was required to learn all of the instruments. So I can play all, but of course, my heart is still with the tenor, because that's the steel pan I started learning on.
Yeah. In Jamaica, we have a word, we say bossy. I don't know if you know that word. It means arrogant, but Jamaican people say bossy, so you're kind of bossy with your steel pan. I grew up with ska, then we went to rocksteady, then we went to reggae, now we're at dancehall. What about the steel pan? Have things changed, or is the pan just the pan and you play the same kind of music that you've been playing from ever since?
Oh no, steel pan has been almost in every musical situation that you can think of. And the steel pan itself, which the beauty of the instrument is that it is so versatile. It can play any style of music. Anybody can play any style of music on the steel pan. I myself have had wonderful opportunities to play across the world. I've played all sorts of styles, including classical music, of course, our traditional styles here, calypso and soca, definitely dancehall, definitely reggae. And I've even played Japanese music, you know, in Japan, traditional Japanese music. I have played in a synagogue, you know, I played traditional Jewish music as well. So the steel pan definitely has lived a life of versatility and definitely in different contexts. And that is the beauty of the instrument. You know, you're able to sort of adapt and adjust to all sorts of different styles of music. Of course, we also have Indian classical as well, and you'd see the steel pan also shining in that area. So the instrument itself and the persons behind it, once trained, can definitely execute any style of music, you know, on the steel pan.
Dr. Mia, I'm so impressed. By the way, who is an ethnomusicologist? Who is that person?
That's also me. Well, an ethnomusicologist, that's actually what I did my second master's and PhD in, and ethnomusicology is the study of music as a cultural phenomenon. So we look at not just the instrument, not just the music, but the people who play the music and why certain people play the music. And we ask a lot of questions like, why? So for example, for my PhD, I did research in Japan on steel pan, Japanese steel panists, because I was so interested to see so many Japanese panists come into Trinidad for carnival. So I took a dive into the history of steel pan and how it developed in Japan. So ethnomusicologists, we tend to do the fun stuff, even though it's research, and some people might look at research like, oh, but for us, it's so much fun to understand the why, behind the music.
Boy, Dr. May, I am so impressed, and I continue to be impressed the more you speak. Wow, and you're still a very young woman, and you've accomplished that so much. In Trinidad and Tobago, how important is steel pan? Because again, things evolve, and I know soca and everything, but how important is steel pan to the folks of Trinidad and Tobago?
Oh, it's very important. It's definitely it's well played. We have lots and lots of steel bands here. We just got out of our carnival season, and we have, of course, 4 different categories of competition when it comes to steel pan. We have single pan bands, we have small bands, medium bands, and large bands. And I have to give a shout out to Trinidad All-Star Steel Orchestra, which is the orchestra that I have grown up with and I'm a big part of. And we tied for first place this year. So that was an amazing opportunity for us. So steel pan is very vibrant. We just had a concert on Sunday. And this was a concert with the Marionettes Chorale, where we were raising funds for St. Francis Church here in Trinidad and Tobago. So, I mean, there are lots of opportunities for steel pan. There are lots of panists. We have a ton of academies that runs across Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, here at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, where I serve as assistant professor, we have a very vibrant steel pan studio as well, of young persons especially coming to study steel pan here in Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, we also actually offer a pan fellowship program, which is a 6-month intensive course where a lot of international students are really interested in pursuing steel pan and then carrying it back to their locations for further development.
Yep. That leads me to my next and final question, because you said young people, but are the young people in Trinidad and Tobago drawn to the pan?
Oh, absolutely. There's this conversation of, pan is dying, the audiences are older folks, but a lot of the persons who actually play in the pan are young people. And even at the Trinidad All Stars Academy, we have persons as young as 5 years old. And we just registered over 100 students just in our academy alone. And we're just one of many across Trinidad and Tobago. So yes, a lot of young people are actually drawn to the playing of the instrument. And I think that ensures our future.
Yeah, boy, 2 masters, doctorate, and I suspect you have much more to do. And you're still just 13 years old. I don't know how you've accomplished so much so far. I'm so very impressed. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Hopefully, if you pass through our country, then you come look for us in studio one of these days. God bless you.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, man,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, our pleasure. God bless you and your family, and continue to do what you're doing. Very, very impressed.
Thank you so very much.
Blessings. Ethnomusicologist, assistant professor, and so much more. She's at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Mia Gormandy-Benjamin. Gosh, nice. That was our Caribbean check-in. Stay with us, please. Soon come.